So I'm going to start with a tiny bit of promo. So I'm going to read today from Redesigning Landry Bishop, which just came out last week. It's actually the second book in the series, although you can read any of the books as a standalone. The first book is The Spy's Love Song, and then the third book will come out in October. So just a little bit of background about this before I do the reading. My main character, Landry, is from a small town in Nebraska, Peril, Nebraska, but he made it big in LA as kind of a Martha Stewart type. And so he's kind of a lifestyle guru, and his personal assistant, Elaine, is about to retire, and so he has reluctantly hired Elaine's distant relative, Jordan, to be her replacement. And Jordan has no experience as a personal assistant. So Jordan has just been hired, and he has moved into the pool house, because it's LA, and of course he has a pool house. You are a clever man, Landry. Elaine missed the eye roll he made in response, since her gaze was fixed on the burly men frolicking in the pool. It's hot, Landry said, which was true. The heat wave had raised temps to near 100. Uh-huh. Moving furniture is hard work. They were sweaty. Yes, they were. And you are a humanitarian. Landry might have responded with something witty, but then one of the men climbed out of the water, his tidy whities now completely transparent, directed a wave at Landry and Elaine, and then dove back in. Landry simply sighed. They both stood there staring until bare feet padded on the concrete behind them. Landry turned to see Jordan approaching with a tray of frosted glasses and a large pitcher. I still say beer's better than iced tea, Jordan announced as he placed the tray on the table. And something with citrus and tequila or rum might be best of all. But these gentlemen have to return to work eventually, and therefore need to stay sober. Yeah, I guess. But you don't. Want me to get you something boozy? Although Landry was tempted, he shook his head. Not now, thank you. I have work to accomplish today, too. But you can help yourself if you like. You're off duty for the afternoon, so you can get your room settled. Jordan glanced at Elaine, already clutching a glass of her famous homemade sangria, then squared his shoulders and looked back at Landry. I don't do alcohol. I had some issues with it before. Nothing... I never hit rock bottom or anything, but I'm better off avoiding it. I should have told you before. Sorry. If it's not going to interfere with your job, it's none of my business. Landry was glad to see Jordan brighten at his response and added, Your new health benefits include counseling, so if you need some help, you can get it. Jordan's wide smile appeared. Thanks, I'm cool. It's been a long time since I touched the stuff. Landry nodded briskly. All right, perhaps you could offer those gentlemen some tea? As Jordan trotted to the pool, Elaine fixed Landry with a look. You sound like an 80-year-old member of the House of Lords when you say that. Say what? Offer those gentlemen some tea? She echoed in a horrible British accent. Cheerio and pip-pip. I don't sound like that. Okay, maybe not exactly, but you're totally channeling Lord Thistlebottom. She took a healthy sip of her sangria. Landry had no good response, in part because he knew she was right. He did sound stuffy. But speaking properly was hardly a cardinal sin, was it? Jordan returned, followed by a retinue of wet, muscular, nearly naked men, and Landry's thoughts fled. Jordan poured glasses of iced tea, and the furniture movers converged around Landry in a glistening, bulging crowd. Thanks so much for the break, Mr. Bishop, said a man with sepia skin and large gold nipple rings. This really hits the spot. It must be miserable moving furniture in such weather. I'm glad I could help. Another man with a ginger beard and pale, freckled skin that threatened to erupt into sunburn at any minute sidled a little closer. Usually we're lucky if someone offers us water. The proximity of so much damp masculinity was almost too much for Landry, who was in the midst of a very long sexual dry spell. His face felt flushed. He wished he'd taken up Jordan's offer of something alcoholic. Well, I appreciate your hard work, he said, and then winced at the unintended double entendre. Nipple rings didn't wince. He waggled his eyebrows. I like to work hard, and play hard. Landry made a slightly strangled noise, at which point Elaine tapped his shoulder. It's time for that phone call with Ms. Winfrey. He didn't have any calls scheduled, with Oprah or otherwise, but he gave a quick nod. Of course, gentlemen? He nodded at the movers before walking to the house with as much dignity as he could manage. Half an hour later, while Landry was puttering around with an experimental tabbouleh recipe, Jordan and Elaine joined him in the kitchen. Try this, he ordered, handing them each a spoonful. Jordan made approving noises, but Elaine frowned. That's not a grain. It's cauliflower. For the love of God, why? For people who want to eat grain-free. you don't want to eat grains you shouldn't be eating tabbouleh. She took Jordan's spoon along with her own and watched them in the sink. I like it, Jordan announced. It's kind of crunchy-ish. He seemed sincere. Thank you, Landry said. Hey, you didn't really have an important phone call, did you? No, that was Elaine rescuing me. I kind of figured. Except, I hope this doesn't sound rude, but why did you need rescuing? Those guys were hot. The whole thing was like the opening of a pretty good porno, you know? If they'd been all over me like that, I sure as hell wouldn't have wanted rescuing. Landry pushed aside the interesting information that Jordan was attracted to men. His PA's sexual orientation was irrelevant. He also pushed aside a stupid and inexplicable jab of jealousy. If Jordan wanted to fantasize about group sex with hunky furniture delivery men, that was none of Landry's business. So he focused on the question itself. Why do you think those extremely attractive men were so interested in me? Because they were throwing themselves all over you? Yes, I suppose they were. But why? Why me? Because you're damn hot, too. Even as Landry's face heated at the unexpected compliment, Jordan's cheeks turned a charming shade of pink. Interesting. Their gazes locked so tightly that Landry wondered if either of them would ever look away, or if he wanted them to. Then Elaine mumbled, "Oh, for fuck's sake," and whacked Jordan on the shoulder. What your new boss means, kid, is that although, yes, he is obnoxiously good-looking, pretty is a dime a dozen around here. They were panting all over him because he's the fabulous, famous Landry Bishop, and they're all wannabe actors looking to break into showbiz. How do you know they want to be actors? Confusion wrinkled Jordan's brow. Elaine and Landry laughed in unison. We're in LA, honey, she said. Everyone wants that. I don't. The sweet and plaintive quality of Jordan's reply almost thawed Landry's cynical heart. He wanted to pat Jordan on the back and tell him he was fine just as he was, that it was hardly a character flaw if someone lacked ambition regarding the industry. In fact, the lack of that particular ambition in this town made someone unique. Special. Did you get all your belongings put away? Landry asked, moving away from them and toward the fridge. The tabbouleh would suffice. Now he needed to work on the menu for a pre-holiday tea party he intended to showcase on the Susie show. He needed to choose items that were festive, but light, and didn't echo traditional holiday meals, and he needed to think about anything other than his new PA. Yep, answered Jordan as Landry assessed the contents of the refrigerator. And you ordered really nice furniture. I like it. Knowing Jordan couldn't see, Landry allowed himself a pleased smile. It's more contemporary than my usual style, but better suited to the pool house, I think. And better suited to Jordan as well. It's great. Do you think sometime you could teach me how to pick out decent stuff? If you're not too busy. You're probably too busy. Landry turned his head to look at Jordan. I'm sure we can find some time to at least go over the basics. Great, thanks. Is there anything you want me to do now? Take the afternoon off. Settle in, get comfortable, use the pool if you want. He'll start exploiting your labor tomorrow, Elaine said. Ignoring her, Landry closed the refrigerator doors and faced Jordan. We'll meet tomorrow at 8 after my morning exercise and go over the week's schedule and my expectations for you. Jordan grinned. I'm looking forward to being exploited. Landry leaned against the counter and watched Jordan lope across the patio to the pool house. He didn't realize he'd sighed until Elaine came up beside him. Wow, she said. What? You two. What about us? I'm sort of regretting I'll be in Hawaii. Gonna miss the fireworks. What fireworks? She simply smiled and shook her head.